Hi guys, welcome back to reality. I'm Danny.
And I'm Danielle, and today we are talking about the case that the world's been talking about for the last month. Gabby Petito, her fiance, Brian Laundrie, that they've been searching for months, for the last month or 3 weeks, has been found, and it was confirmed through dental records that the partial skull was his. A lot of people are skeptical because his parents were helping, but and they're like, why weren't they helping before? But this is the first time that it's been open to the public, so that's why that was the first time they helped. I'm gonna play these videos real quick, and then we'll discuss after. It just tells about what happened.
Now, let's bring in our team, Kristen Thorne again, and former NYPD Chief of Detectives, Bob Boyson. Bob, I want to start with you. You heard Kristen's story. You followed the developments today. There is lots of speculation, and Kristen raised some of it. I'll raise another. How did they know? How did they know last night? Did someone call them? Did Brian Laundrie may have called his parents to say something? Who knows? We don't know. You're a detective. You spent your career being a cop, and you were chief of detectives. Where do you go here? Where does your sense tell you?
Good evening, Bill. There's just too many strange turns that Chris and Roberta Laundrie have been involved in to not believe that something is amiss here. And then you see
I agree
this,
completely.
the day the park closed, they reopens, they go into this specific area here, and a very large, 2,400 acres, from what I understand, the park it abuts the.
Okay, I agree that something is amiss. I think his parents knew something, but I don't necessarily think that them going there was that suspicious since it was closed before that to the public. Maybe they knew he was. They said they knew his trails, like where he would be at. They said they told the FBI that, but that area was underwater before. But we'll never really know. His parents aren't going to come
No,
tell us. They're not going to come clean.
no, they're not going to tell us anything. That's what's got me the most angry with this whole thing is
Hmm.
that he took the coward's way out. I want to know details, not details, not like details, but I want to
Right?
know.
Why?
Yeah, just why?
Yeah. Honestly, I don't think he set out to intentionally kill her. They had been arguing. They were in a tight, closed space, traveling, and I think it just happened. And then he was like, "Oh crap!" and probably immediately called his parents because his
I
brother's
agree.
in law enforcement. So
Yeah, I think it was a crime of passion.
yeah.
Carlton Reserve, and they go to this exact spot and they find the backpack, and they identify the backpack from what I can understand and the notebook in this particular area. So it's quite strange. And
24,000 acres, I think, actually 24,000.
Yeah. It's even worse.
Yeah.
So they find this one location, this remote location where it's a path where people go by.
Oh, one thing I do think is weird is the dad, instead of just leaving the dry pack there, picked it up and carried it to the police. I think that's weird. Why wouldn't you leave it where it was? That's tampering with evidence right there.
Right.
So now we don't know if his fingerprints are on there from that or were they already on there because he helped him do this, you know?
Yeah.
Why we see the gentleman walking by in an early handheld video, and they're being told by the FBI agent that, well, all of a sudden we found something, we found remains, and you can see that there's they're a little taken back by it. I can see. So there's a lot of things here. This doesn't add up to coincidence. So you wonder exactly how they got there, what they knew all along.
Mm-hmm.
If this does look like the final chapter in this thing, one of the final chapters in this case, I can tell you that just that they find remains nearby, and they find property nearby. Chances are the two belong to each other.
Neat.
So that's what I'm thinking right now. The FBI agent is exactly right. He's going to be there for 7 days. I've been at outdoor crime scenes. You have to cut down a lot of brush. You really have to give a very thorough search. It's not an easy thing. The dogs might bring you to other campsites where he was, but perhaps Brian was camping out there. The medical examiner responded. He did an initial investigation, and I believe the body will be removed for an autopsy inside a lab, and we'll know more.
Right, because they'll do DNA tests on the human remains. I think the thing that Kristen came up with and what she focused on in her story today, and Kristen, correct me if I'm wrong, but let me ask Bob the first question, and then you can weigh in on this, is that last night, well, something happened because that place, that preserve, opened up for the public again yesterday. Mm-hmm. Somebody may have seen something because they called the police. They called the FBI, said, we're going there tomorrow. So how did they know to go there tomorrow? Did someone call them? Did they get a call from somebody or find a note from their son? We don't know. But what does your gut tell you? Because they called the FBI last night and said, we're going to go there tomorrow. Meet us there.
It sounds
That
like they
is
got a
weird.
tip from somebody, to be honest with you. On that, I'm looking at it just from 3,000 feet now. But they could do some telephone work on that and see where that came from. If it did come through the telephone,
I didn't
or was
realize they
delivered by in
called the
person,
night
it's
before.
or through a computer. It's unclear. But for them to go to the
Did you know they called the night before and said, we're going there tomorrow? Meet us there?
Yeah,
See, to
because
me,
they
that
opened
is
up
fishy.
because they opened up the reserve, so it was the first time they were allowed to.
Yeah, but it still seems weird. Why say, "Oh, we're going there tomorrow. Meet us there," and then they went straight.
What
to
I
it.
don't get is how
They went right. They directly went straight to it. It's not like they were
Right.
looking around. He went straight to it.
Well, what I don't get is how was the backpack and the notebook near his body if it had been under water for weeks?
Right? I guess there was a dry pack for one of them, the white one that the dad carried around after like tainting the evidence all over the place. That one was like a dry pack. The other one I don't know how, unless they found it soaked.
Mm-hmm. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the chat.
Hi, welcome, guys. We're just discussing the case about Brian Laundrie being found. So, yeah, I just think it's weird, and they went straight to it, and the dad carried it around tainting the evidence. I mean, so now they won't know if he touched it prior to that or not because he picked it up and carried it right to him like an
But
idiot.
he had law enforcement with them. Why would
No, the law enforcement were a little ways away. The reporters were right there. The reporters were right there with them, but not law enforcement. And so instead of leaving it there and going and getting a law enforcement agent and coming back, he picks it up and carries it like a dumbass.
So now they don't even have the precise spot where it was found.
Yeah, they don't have anything. I mean, he took him back to it, but who's to say he remembered correctly?
Right.
And
you're in the middle of the woods.
Yeah, exactly. It's just, it's fishy. To call the night before and say we're going there, meet us there, and then go straight to the spot. Come on now.
Mm-hmm. They've been fishy all along, though.
Yeah. I'm curious to see if they're going to charge him with anything or if they're just going to let it go because he's dead.
Well, I think at this point now it's pretty much going to weigh on the fact of whether they find like skin under her fingernails, like DNA on her
I'm
body.
sure they've already done that.
That they can, pin the crime on him.
True. Well, I think they already did that because remember they went to the house to get DNA, but I wouldn't trust that the parents gave him his real DNA anyway. Even if they hadn't, though, it would show that it was kin to the murderer. You know what I'm saying? So it'd be pointless to not give them his real DNA. Either way, if he did it, it would show up whether it's hers, the dad's, the brother's, or his.
Yeah. And like that JB on WFLA, he had a good point too. According to Cassie's story, that camping trip that they went on, Gabby never came up. How do you go on a cross country trip? You're gone for what, like a month, 6 weeks, whatever they were gone for at that point. Come home with your partner's van and not your partner, and yet nothing came up when they went.
And she wasn't a stranger. I mean, she lived there,
right?
So, and the parents had been calling this whole time because when they first started calling, they said this on the Dr. Phil show. When they first started calling, they were concerned about both of them. They didn't realize, they thought both were missing. They didn't realize it was just Gabby at first. Right. And so his parents weren't answering. They were ignoring them. They wouldn't pick up. They just completely ghosted them. And then when they found out the van was in Florida and she wasn't, and they reported her missing then, and the parents still, nope, nothing. Here, talk to my lawyer, bitch. It just blows my mind.
But then when he didn't come home for a few days, then they wanted the law enforcement's help. Mm-hmm. But they weren't willing to help when it was just Gabby missing.
Yeah.
With that, did they know more? Were they holding back? And that'll be determined in the next couple of days, I think. The DNA is the important thing. Let's get this to find out exactly who this is if we can. Dental records, DNA, fingerprints, if they're still can be brought up after 5 weeks in the wild. And also tattooing, if you can still see that. Looks like Brian has some tattoos and clothing. Will they be able to, the clothing family find if they search for decomposition? About the same time of death.
So he never even lets her talk. All right, I got a couple more. This one is Fox 13. This was, I think, this was after
Some breaking news right now in Northport. The FBI has confirmed that Brian Laundrie is dead, and the human remains found in the woods yesterday are his. Fox 13's Dan Maddox is following all the developments tonight live from the park with some new information. Okay, I know this just was released just a few minutes ago, Dan.
That's right, Kelly. The FBI confirming really what a lot of us had suspected since yesterday. They tweeted out at 5:39 this evening, put out a tweet the FBI did from Denver, their Denver office, saying a comparison of dental records confirmed that the human remains found at the reserve are those of Brian Laundrie. Meanwhile, the search for additional remains continues here at the reserve. Cadaver dogs were back at the nature preserve Thursday, which may indicate the human remains that were found on Wednesday might be scattered.
Our thoughts and prayers are with Gabby and the families here. This is tragic.
Yesterday, the FBI found Brian Laundrie's backpack and notebook near unidentified human remains. The FBI had not been able to search the area where the remains were found until now because it had been underwater.
Today, when I walked back there, I got to see firsthand the treacherous conditions that they were working on. We're talking about water levels up above almost the chest area, rattlesnakes, moccasins, alligators.
Brian's parents were not at the preserve Thursday after leaving the day before, noticeably upset. The family attorney says there is a high probability the human remains that were found are Brian's.
I'm just still thinking about Gabby, not even Brian. Gabby.
Jane Kornberger lives 5 miles away from the nature preserve and joined a group of people here waiting for answers. She was upset when some law enforcement who aren't leading the investigation stood in front of cameras without any real new information.
Complete disappointment. They came out to say they were working in treacherous conditions, which we knew. We've known that for a month.
The Laundrie family reported Brian missing on September 17th after he left their home 5 days earlier. Brian remains a person of interest in the death of his fiancee, Gabby Petito, whose body was found strangled in Wyoming following their month-long road trip out west.
All of America's watching, okay? But we'll never jeopardize an investigation to give that information out until...
Did he say jeopardize?
The time is right.
Sorry, it just bothered me.
This is video that we just got into our newsroom moments ago from the Brian Laundrie family home. Officers with Northport Police there, 2 of them seen there going inside the home. It's been reported from the family attorney that has said that the family has been notified that the remains were identified through dental records as Brian Laundrie. You can see the officers going inside the home. They stayed for a short while. Again, the FBI putting out the tweet about 25 minutes ago saying that today a comparison of dental records confirmed that human remains found here at the reserve are those of Brian Laundrie. Kelly.
All right. And I know, Dan, you may be able to talk a little bit about this, but a question a lot of people are still asking about the parents. They went to the reserve yesterday. We know it had just opened to the public, and they went to that location right there, and they were able to help find the remains of their son. Do we know what prompted them to go there? Has more been talked about the timeline for the parents' involvement in this search?
Well, the attorney, according to the Laundrie family attorney, they say that they've been cooperating for the last couple of weeks with the investigation, that they knew some of the trails that Brian liked to frequent, and that's why they were able to aid in the search yesterday. I can tell you that they did not return, they did not go back to the reserve today, and that is why you see those 2 officers going to the home to apparently make that notification.
Right, they probably did. So more to come on the timeline, but all right, we appreciate the update, and we'll be talking with you soon. Dan Maddox.
I want to see what this is.
And the Laundrie family attorney has just issued a statement on the developments today at the Carlton Reserve. Let's go right.
Hey, that's us.
Live to Northport. Now, Fox 13's Catherine Hawley's there live outside the Laundrie home. Hi there, Catherine. What more do you know?
Well, out here at the house right now, there are a few protesters yelling for justice for Gabby. The Northport police are here on scene.
I bet
and
you know
it is
who.
believed
I
that
bet you know who's still out there.
Brian Laundrie's parents are inside the home. Now, as you said, their attorney released a statement to Fox 13 News that says Chris and Roberta Laundrie were at the reserve earlier today when human remains and some of Brian's possessions were located in an area where they had initially advised law enforcement that Brian may be. Chris and Roberta will wait for the forensic identification of those human remains before making any additional comments.
Of course, their lawyer is going to say that they initially advised, whether they did or not, that they're going to say they advised law enforcement that he may be there.
Right.
I don't think they gave specific trails. I think they said this is where he likes to go. Have at it.
Well, the thing is we don't know what all they know. You know,
Right. Yeah. For good reason.
And we're speculating too that the parents knew, you know, like that they knew where he went, and that, like, we don't know if anything they've told us is even true.
Right. And I know it's speculation, but at this point, I think that there's not anybody in the world that believes that his parents didn't know and help him.
No, I don't think there is either. I agree.
So, I mean,
I think we all think that, but
yeah, we don't know. Obviously, it's allegedly. We can't say we know that. It's all alleged. There's no proof. But I mean, just the way things went down, it seems pretty obvious. Why else would you not call the police when your son returns home with his fiance's van and she's nowhere to be seen? And it's not like, oh, well, I took her home. No, that was her home. She lived there with him. It's not like it was a stranger. It was someone they had a relationship with.
And then they waited
they talked
5 days
daily
to report their own son missing.
Yeah, I think that because they wanted to give him a head start. Yeah. I don't think the plan was that he wouldn't make it. I think the plan was he was going to get a head start and get out of Dodge.
Out here at the family home are talking, though. One local and her mom stopped by to see what was happening here. Here's what her reaction to the developments.
I just think it's very unfortunate that if he is not found alive, that her family can't ask him any questions like, why did you do it? Like, what was going on?
Now, this is the most active the Laundrie home has been in a few weeks. While all of the effort was focused on looking for Brian in the reserve, there is a growing memorial on their front lawn here at the house, and police are here making sure neighbors can get through the streets. Now, again, Brian went missing more than 5.
Huh?
Did you see that person right there?
Huh. Let me go back.
Here at the house, and police are here making sure.
Oh, right there. Yep, there she is. I'm not even gonna give her a plug. Oh, look, there's Dog the Bounty Hunter. Is he trying to choke Brian? It is. That's Dog the Bounty Hunter choking Brian Laundrie. He's got him in a choker hold. That's awesome.
Sure, neighbors can get through the streets. Now, again, Brian went missing more than 5 weeks ago, and tonight there is a growing group of protesters here outside of his parents' home. They have signs. They've been yelling "Justice for Gabby" and trying to entice a comment from his parents. But it sounds like from their
look at that guy on the bike. He knows the camera's right there. He's like, yeah. He even just backed up so he would be shown. He's like, yeah, I'm gonna be on TV tonight.
Their lawyer that they will not be saying anything until we know for sure.
He did. He even
what
literally
the
backed
were
up
that were discovered today.
Sure, that's certainly been their MO for weeks now, for sure. Catherine Hawley outside the Laundrie home. Thanks, Catherine. And multiple law enforcement agencies from all across the area, along with the FBI, had been searching for Brian Laundrie for weeks, going back to mid-September. Here's a closer look at the timeline of events. Brian returned to Northport without Gabby Petito on September 1st. Then on September 11th, that's when Gabby's mom first reported her missing. Brian's parents say that he left to hike in the Carlton Reserve on September 13th.
Which I don't
later
think
named
that
the person
date
of
is
interest
real.
in Gabby's disappearance on the 15th. Again, still September. 2 days later, on the 17th, Brian's parents reported him missing to police. And then the search at the reserve began the next day. Now, Gabby's remains were found in the Grand Teton National Park. 2 more days later, on September 19th, on the 23rd, a federal warrant for a bank card fraud charge was issued for.
Okay, look. So Gabby was reported missing on the 11th. He left for the reserve on the 13th. Then 2 days later, named person of interest. Then they waited 2 more days to report him missing. They knew what they were doing.
Mm-hmm.
They knew what they were doing. Because they even went out there and left a note on the car. Then when they went back the next morning and the note was still there, they took the car home, didn't call the police, didn't do nothing. They knew. It was all, they knew.
Brian's arrest.
Allegedly, but they knew. Okay, I want to see, where's the one? There was one that said here, could Laundrie parents be in legal trouble?
The big break in the case? A major development today.
What has happened? That wasn't what was supposed to happen. Oh, it went away.
And the Laundrie family.
Here we go.
Thanks for joining us. More now on the developing news in the search for Brian Laundrie and the remains found today in the Carlton Reserve in Florida. There are new questions swirling around the Laundrie parents who we have learned led authorities to the items in the park this morning belonging to their son. Their story and timeline of events have the public and even police at times scratching their heads. This was Northport Police earlier this month when our correspondent Brian Enton asked about the Laundrie parents.
Certainly what the family has told us is that he drove out to the park and walked out into the woods.
Do you believe the family at this point? Is there reason to not believe them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
At this point, everything that I've learned and we figured out is I don't know necessarily what to believe anymore. I think it's certainly possible that they're expressing what they know, but we'll see. I mean, this is an ongoing investigation that will.
Did you see how hard he had to think about how he wanted to word his answer?
Who is this again?
He's the law enforcement in the area that's doing the search. But did you see how long he had to think about what he wanted to say?
And then he goes, is there reason to believe? And he goes, yeah.
He's like, yeah. And then he sits there and thinks because he doesn't want to get in trouble.
Yeah. No, I don't blame him. Everything's getting dissected piece by piece.
Oh, yeah.
You got to be worried about every little thing you say.
That's how it is about everything nowadays. It's insane to me.
Yep.
To evolve.
That's the big question. What do they know? Could the Laundrie parents be in some legal trouble? Let's bring in Dave Ehrenberg. He is the state attorney for Palm Beach County, Florida, and he has been following this case closely and offering his expertise for us night after night. Dave, are they in legal trouble at this point?
Well, it depends, Marnie. It depends what they know and what they knew. You know, it's not enough that they remained silent or lawyered up or didn't call the Petito family back. All that stuff is not a crime. But if they actively try to hide evidence, destroy evidence, sanitize the van, help Brian escape.
This means they're not going to get in trouble. There's no way to prove any of that.
Exactly. I was thinking
so
the same
they're
thing,
going to
but
get
then
away with it. Yeah, they're going to get away with it.
Feel me, Coke.
Yeah. Bench poke.
And knowing that he had committed a crime. It's also a crime if they lied to investigators. That would be the crime of obstruction of an investigation. At the state level,
trying to prove
it's not as serious as if they lied to the FBI. As Jennifer could tell you,
but
you don't want to lie to the FBI.
If they can legally remain silent, then they can't prove any of it.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, unless they could, they'd have to investigate in some way. Like they'd have to find some type of evidence that they, tried to obscure.
Yeah, they're going to get away with it.
But yeah, they're going to get away with it because they can't prove that they lied about when he left. And it sucks. They shouldn't be able to get away with it.
No.
But trying to prove it is the problem.
That's what Martha Stewart did, and it got her 5 months in prison. But you could get up to 5 years in prison for lying to the FBI.
Good old
so
Martha
at this stage,
Stewart.
we don't know whether they have committed any crime. But I can tell you this. If the body found is indeed Brian Laundrie, it will make it harder to prosecute the parents for being accessories after the fact because
you can't prove
with
it.
Brian dies, some of the evidence dies with him. But they could still be charged with lying if they lied at all to investigators.
And that
Perjury.
is if, in fact, the human remains found today are Brian's. Does their silence moving forward now help or hurt them? They've
We
been
have a
quiet up
question in the
until now.
chat.
Oh,
What do you
Question.
think is the minimum level of accountability that Brian's parents have in this situation? After all, they did raise him and he ended up a cold-blooded killer.
I don't think. Okay, they did raise him, but at a certain point, you start becoming responsible for your own actions. So I don't think they're responsible for the fact that he killed her, but I do think they're responsible for the fact that the way he responded to it after.
Right.
He didn't feel like he needed to be a man and stand up and say, "Hey, I did this. Let me take accountability and come in." No, he was a coward. His parents were cowards. They sat and did nothing. They didn't tell the Petitos that their daughter was missing so they could try and find her sooner. They waited until they found out 11 days later. And then as soon as they did find out, what does he do? He runs. So I do think they take accountability for that. And I do think they were accessories after the fact. I think as soon as it happened, he probably called them up and said, "What do I do?" And they gave him advice. They gave him money and he bounced.
But getting them on any of it is
The problem is proving it. Like he
Yeah.
said, with Brian dying, it makes it almost impossible to prove the parents knew anything prior to get
Right.
them for accessory. At this point, they'd have to try and catch them in a lie to prove they lied to the FBI, and then they could get up to 5 years for that. But even that's going to be hard, you know?
right.
But I mean, yeah, I do think they're accountable for some of it, just not all of it.
It feels like
I
No.
love my kids to death, but I'm not going to help them run and hide if they do something wrong. I'm going to say I'll be there for you every step of the way, but we need to go do the right thing.
right. It just feels like, I mean,
I'll get him the best lawyer.
Those of us that have been following it since day one, it feels like how can it end like that?
Yeah, that's
no
the
one
hardest
is going
part.
to have to pay for anything.
Well, I think he paid in a way, but I mean, the hardest part I think is there's no closure really.
No, not for her family.
No.
I mean,
get
they
no
got
answers.
to. I mean, I feel bad for, and I know I'm alone in this, most likely, but I do feel bad for the Laundries and the fact that they
Yeah,
they
you're
lost
alone
their
in
son.
that.
Yeah, they lost their son too, but I don't know. That's
That's the thing. They didn't have to lose their son if they would have made him do the right thing like they should.
Yeah, you know what my son said today? He was like, "Yeah, but Mom," he said, if they would have done the right thing, they would have at least known where their child was, that he was healthy and safe.
Exactly. That's what I was just saying. They didn't have to lose their son. They chose to lose their son by allowing him to run and cower away instead of saying, "Okay, let's handle this together. I'll be there for you. I'll get you a lawyer. I'll do whatever you need to do, and I'll always be here for you. But you need to go and turn yourself in." And then they wouldn't have lost him.
Well, and
I don't feel one bit of iota of sorry for them. Sympathy, nothing. They made their beds. Now they can lie in them.
Oh, I can't help it. Anytime a parent loses a child, I can't help it.
But they could have prevented it. That's why I don't.
Yeah, you're right. I can't. You're right, and logically I know that, but
yeah,
empathetically, I can't tell my heart that.
Silence continues
Danny.
to incriminate them in the court of public opinion. They're not going to win any People's Choice Awards. But as far as being prosecuted for a crime, silence can...
Oh, did that answer your question, Ken? If you have any more questions, let us know in the chat.
Welcome to the chat to those that just came in.
Yes. Welcome, guys. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the chat.
Cannot be used against them because they have the Fifth Amendment right against self-incrimination.
Yeah.
And they will not be charged for staying quiet, even though morally we all believe that they should have called Gabby's parents. For example, when Gabby went missing, Brian came home without her. They didn't tell Gabby's family or anyone that she was missing. And if they continue to remain silent and carry secrets to the grave with them, that in itself would not be a crime. as long as they didn't
Unfortunately.
affirmatively lie
You know
to
where
investigators
it puts
or
it
do
all in
some
perspective for me is my daughter-in-laws. Like that was supposed to be their daughter-in-law. Like
Right.
she lived with them. They should have been close enough. I mean, they had to have known that the relationship was toxic if they lived with them.
Right. And even if they didn't fight as much before they went on the trip and they were in an enclosed place, so they started fighting more, they still knew at some point. I mean, even their friends knew. It's not like it was a stranger. It was someone that they had formed a relationship with, they lived with, and they were just like, let our parents wonder. We don't care. Fuck them.
Yeah.
Excuse my French.
Like I can't, that's where it really like kind of gets put in perspective for me, because I can't imagine me or my husband reacting the way that the Laundries did if that was one of my, and even when you think about, like, I mean, we were like the hangout house when all our kids were young and everything. Mm-hmm. So like even some of the friends that like my kids grew up with, they're like my other children. I mean, you develop such a relationship when people are around all the time and at your house all the time and stuff. So I can't even imagine that if it was like one of their friends or something.
Well, no. And if your son did that, obviously you would walk him up to the jail. I mean, that's just what you do.
Yeah.
Something like hide evidence.
What about the attorney? What obligation does he have, if any, moving forward?
None. It's privilege.
The attorney has attorney-client privilege, and even if his client dies, that privilege continues.
Yep.
Even after the
I
person
didn't know
dies.
that.
And so the attorney doesn't have to say anything.
Did you say something?
I didn't realize that.
Oh, you didn't? Yeah. Attorney-client, you can pay them $1 and they become your attorney and they can't say anything.
Well, I knew that, but I didn't realize after they were deceased that.
Oh, yeah. Even after they're dead, you can't say nothing. It transcends death.
I don't think I could live with that.
Otherwise, nobody would ever hire a lawyer because they couldn't be trusted.
Right.
You know?
But I don't think I could. I don't think that's a profession I could do. Living with that.
Yeah, no.
He killed himself right away a month ago after he left his parents' home, just days after he'd returned to Florida without his fiancee, Gabby Petito. Might a gator have gotten to Brian Laundrie while he slept in that swampy reserve, a fugitive from justice as cops searched so feverishly? Maybe someday we'll know more. But tonight,
why do this guy's lower eyelashes look so weird? Does he have mascara on?
only one truth is revealed.
They're
Brian
clumpy.
Laundrie is dead.
Oh yeah.
Sort of thing.
You see it now?
Like fake eyelashes.
Two senior law enforcement officials
it's really
tell
weird
NBC
and
News
creepy
earlier
looking.
today what they found was parts
I'm
of a
just very
human
observant.
skull,
I notice everything.
Brian Laundrie's skull. An
I
FBI
had to
statement
make my
appeared
screen
1 hour
bigger.
ago.
Yeah,
Those
they're
old lady eyes.
they're so weird. They're creepy looking.
On October the 21st, 2021, a comparison of dental records confirmed that the human remains found at the T. Mabry Carlton Jr. Memorial Reserve and the Myakkahatchee Creek Environmental Park are those of Brian Laundrie. The FBI found those human remains just yesterday in the very spot where Brian's family said he was last heading to go hiking back on September 13th. Of course, they didn't.
So that's pretty much it. They found his body.
Oh, Steve. So they found remains yesterday, Steve, at the reserve,
and they were Brian Laundrie's.
And today they confirmed by dental records that it was Brian Laundrie, but they were skeletal remains. It was just bones
because they were underwater.
Yeah, because the area they found him in had been underwater since.
It was that swampy area. They'd been underwater for a while.
Weeks or something.
Yeah. They'd been looking for him for 5 weeks now. So,
But actually, his parents went out there, and they were the ones that found.
Yeah, that's what's so bizarre is that they walked up directly. They went in, went right to the spot, found a bag, and then instead of waiting for the police to come and get it, the dad picked up the bag, carried it to the police, and tainted the evidence.
The FBI confirmed it.
Yeah, it's been confirmed. They confirmed it with his dental records. It was a partial skull, I believe. And the parents called the night before, said they were going to go there and told the FBI to meet them. And then they just walked right up to it and said, "Oh, this is his dry bag." And instead of waiting for the police to come get it, the dad picked it up and tainted it and took it to them. And then a short little bit away from that, they found partial remains next to some of his items, his notebook and something else that had been previously underwater. It really is. It's a sad way to close the case.
I know, no answers.
No closure. I just feel bad for the Petito family because they're not going to get any type of closure out of this now.
But you know what? There could not have been a classier family. I mean,
oh, I agree. Yeah,
the world did not just fall in love with Gabby. They fell in love with the Petito family and the Schmitz. Like,
you don't find many families where blended families where they blend that well together.
Look, Steve, are you on my side? He said, wow, kind of sad. Yes, that's
what we were responding to just now.
Well, no, I just mean
did you just see it again?
Nobody feels bad. Nobody, you're all alone, Danny.
No, that's not what I said at all. I said you're alone in feeling sorry for the Laundrie parents.
Oh, I can't help it.
That's different than being sad. That's different than feeling bad about the way the whole entire case went. I do feel bad about that, but I don't feel bad for his parents at all. That's what I said.
If you're new to our channel, we usually don't agree.
Yeah. We usually
exactly.
are on opposite
they may have
sides
been
of the
people
spectrum.
separately, but not together, Steve. I agree.
Yeah. And the sad part is that they're not, now that he's dead, any chance of proving his parents knew anything or helped, in any way is almost impossible now. So they're going to get away with it too. Right.
I think so too.
It's just a sad situation all around. It really is. I mean, I'm glad that the hunt is over and the wandering, and will they ever find him? Won't they ever find him? Will he ever come out? Will they ever talk? At least that part's over. It just sucks the way it ended. It's just sad.
It really does, because like every day
you're thank you, Steve.
Waiting with bated breath to see. Oh, thank you, Steve. But yeah, we're, every day waiting with bated breath to see what any updates are and if they find them or if there's any clues or, and
will they, won't they? At least that part's over. And I think that will help her family a lot. They're not going to wake up every day praying that he turns himself in, or what's going on.
Go ahead.
So at least there's that.
Right. And now the protesters can go home.
Yeah, if they do. I don't know if they will or not. They like yelling at his parents. At least two of them do.
Mm-hmm.
And see, and what's the point?
I don't know.
I mean, the neighbors don't deserve that. The neighbors don't deserve that at all.
Well, and then I don't get why some people are thanking them for standing out there and screaming at the parents.
Because they're just as crazy as them. What is this notebook? Oh, we don't know. They haven't said. They just said some of his belongings, a notebook and a backpack. They haven't clarified if it's paper notebook, computer.
On the news, they said that they think that if it had been a notebook, computer, or a tablet, they feel that the FBI would have clarified that. They wouldn't have referred to a computer or a tablet as a notebook.
Probably.
But then again, the FBI hasn't been telling us a whole lot. So
true. Well, and they didn't tell us what the contents of the backpack were. He could have had some device in there, a phone, a laptop, or an iPad, and that could also have something on there evidence-wise that could help.
Wasn't it a few weeks ago that they said that he got a new flip phone or
he had gotten a new burner phone? Yeah. That was confirmed in T-Mobile or AT&T or one of the stores, Verizon, one of them confirmed that they were in there.
I want to know what date that was, because he apparently was alive on that day.
Well, yeah, we know he was alive at least till the 13th. Let me see if I can find out what day.
I want to know what the cause of death is, but they may not even be able to find that if it was just skeletal remains and they weren't all intact.
Right, agreed. My guess is,
Steve. I think he had one and then he bought a new one or something.
Yeah, he did buy a new. His parents took him to get it.
No, they bought him a regular phone when they went on the camping trip. And then
let's see.
And then after he was gone, there was a sighting of him buying a burner phone. But I thought
it was purchased on September 4th. Brian Laundrie bought a new cell phone in the days after he returned home from his road trip with Gabby Petito. Laundrie's lawyer confirmed to reporters Thursday. Laundrie family attorney Stephen Bertolino told News Nation Now reporter Brian Enton that the new phone was purchased on September 4th.
I think he put that statement out, though, when they spotted or confirmed that it was him buying the burner.
From Florida. Okay, so the phone that wasn't a burner was bought September 4th.
Right.
And then the AT&T burner phone was bought September 14th. So he was still alive September 14th.
Oh, Steve said he bought one for his parents, one burner for his parents. So he bought two. That's what I thought. I thought there was two.
Well, all I know is the last phone
he ditched the first one and then bought another. That's where I thought the second came in.
The last phone he bought was in a Florida AT&T store on September 14th, the day he disappeared from parents' home, and 3 days after Gabby Petito was reported missing.
Now they may be able to, because I was watching.
Lisa Chapman, Dog the Bounty Hunter, his daughter, also confirmed that Laundrie's mother, Roberta, has been using the burner phone he bought her. So she had been in contact with.
That's what I was going to say.
With her son.
I saw an FBI agent speaking, and they said that people think that burner phones cannot be tracked or traced.
Yes, they can.
Right. So maybe there's a little bit of hope there. Maybe they, if they can prove that she was talking to him.
Yeah, because there is proof that she was using it. So, and who else would she be calling with her burner phone besides Brian? I mean, come on now.
Right.
So that proves right there that that he wasn't really missing.
Right.
Because
so
she was
maybe they can
to
get
him
the
after
parents.
she reported him missing.
Maybe they can get him that way.
Maybe. So they actually
I just
saw
want to
him.
see somebody has to pay something. Gosh.
You're like, I feel so sorry for the parents, but I want them to pay.
I do. But I feel bad for them that they lost their child. Yeah, it was all bones. It was just
so
skeletal remains. And the skull that they were able to determine by the dental records was his. The skull was not even a full skull from what the report said.
So we know he was live on the 14th because the FBI seized the surveillance footage from AT&T where Brian bought the burners. And then the FBI also seized surveillance footage on Wednesday from Fort De Soto Park where Laundrie is believed to be hiding out. So we know he was alive. Thank you. So, yeah, I mean, there's really not much more. We just have to wait now and see if there's a way to get the parents on the hook for it, which is highly unlikely.
But I have a little more hope now that they said that she was using the burner. Hopefully somehow they can prove that way that she was in touch with him.
Yeah, because if Dog the Bounty Hunter got the phone records, the FBI can.
Exactly. Nothing, I don't think anything's impossible these days with technology.
Yeah. Yeah, the new phone his parents bought him on the 4th. He did leave behind. The FBI took possession of it, but the burner phone he still had, and the mom had hers and she was using it. So that's good news. that she was using it, because that means that could be proof that they
Right.
knew.
Exactly. I hope so.
So
I feel like if somebody, like if they, I feel like if they were brought up on charges for it or anything, that may be the only way that they might say anything, you know,
yeah.
because he's not here now. So they don't need to protect him now.
Yeah, they need to protect themselves.
Right.
So people some think his parents, I
So
don't think,
like if they can
no,
give them
Steve,
a
I
plea,
don't think his parents killed him at all. I don't think that.
I don't think so.
I
either.
didn't even know people thought that. Yeah, that's one of those out there theories.
To be honest, I could more so see them killing to protect him, you know, killing someone else to protect him than I could see seeing them kill him.
I couldn't see them killing anybody, really.
Well, I don't know. They went to a lot of lengths to protect him, so that's what I'm saying. Like I think,
Yeah, but I mean,
don't
so
know what
did
they would be capable of.
John Bonet's family did the same thing with their son after he killed their daughter. So allegedly.
Yeah.
Oh, you're in Port Charles, Florida, about 20 miles. Wow, so you're pretty close.
Oh wow.
Yeah, there's people that have been out there protesting in front of their houses, throwing laundry baskets and everything else, calling them the dirty laundries.
Yeah, there's been people on YouTube that have been doing it, and I don't know. I don't see the purpose. And then to me, I think taking a laundry basket, blah, 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 like that's such poor taste. I just think.
Yeah, I agree, Steve. I agree.
I mean, yeah, I wouldn't either.
Some people just take it too far.
Uh-huh.
And then there's people that take it too far by
making
75 freaking videos.
But you also see what, you know, when you're just talking facts and there's no drama involved, that's not what is bringing in numbers. They're getting their numbers because they're acting a fool.
Unfortunately, yeah. And so since they get rewarded for acting a fool because views equals money, they keep doing it.
See,
and they'll keep doing it as long as they're rewarded.
I think Steve's a little bit soft-hearted too, because look, he said it's hard enough for the parents.
Do you feel bad for Brian's parents, Steve?
I do. She doesn't.
No, I don't feel bad for his parents at all. They made the choice when they decided to help him flee to lose their son. They could have decided to turn him in, and then they wouldn't have lost their son. He would still be alive.
I just can't. I don't think a child should ever pass before a parent.
And
yes,
in most
cases,
I agree.
Child. And they can't even lean on each other. I'm sure, you know what I mean? Like,
they could have if the Laundries wouldn't have been bitches.
Right. I agree. Right. I agree. But I'm just saying, you know, they were about to be family, you know, so if it had been an accident and they both had passed or whatever, at least they would have had each family would have had the other family to lean on. But
but when one murders the other, that kind of nixes that whole thing out. That kind of, you know, puts a damper on the leaning on the other.
I'm thankful for that they have a good relationship with, you know, that the parents, all four of them have a good relationship.
You're talking about the Petito and Smiths, not the Laundries. Yeah, I agree. You don't see blended families that blend that well very often, to where there's no jealousy at all. They're like these she had 4 parents, not 2. It's amazing.
Yeah,
and her half
so classy through this whole thing.
The person I feel the worst for is her half brother. It breaks my heart.
You don't even hear about him.
No, you don't. I guess, but right before she left, she had given him a tattoo, so he at least has a tattoo that his big sister gave him.
Good. The whole family got let it be.
Yeah, right in the same spot that Gabby had it on her arm.
It was a bad relationship from the start.
Yeah, I think so too. Her best friend that she had met on Tumblr Friends, said that she used to come to her house crying sometimes and spend the night when they would fight. Um, but hindsight, because she said she never felt off with him, like he was a bad person.
Right.
So I think it just happened. I don't think it was planned. I think it just happened, and then he was like, "What do I do now? I'm
Well, and
screwed."
I think in any abuse situation, the abuser is usually pretty charismatic and able to
Mhm.
fool those around them. I know
Mhm.
mine was.
Well,
Sharif
and
was good
when
at
they got
fooling
pulled
everybody.
over, what was on his side was that he was the only one showing marks of being hit. You know what I'm saying? And
Right.
also that she said, "Yes, I hit him. No, he didn't hit me."
But that's typical too for
No, yeah,
abuse person. So
I'm not saying that he didn't hit her. I'm just saying that's what the cops had to work with. He had the marks, and they
right.
both said that she hit him. So I don't think the cops did anything wrong in that situation. A lot of people do. In hindsight, of course you do, but at the time, you do what you can do with the information you're given. They even had to take pictures of his injuries.
And then he got put up in a nice hotel.
Well, they were going to give him the van since he was the one that was abused, but he said, "No, I want her to have it." Because he thought he was going to have to sleep on outside. And
Yeah, I don't think that. I think it was a crime of passion. I think they had been fighting a lot,
Mhm.
and I think things just got out of hand. And
Mhm. Yeah.
yeah, I don't think he was
No matter which road the cops took that day, it was only going to be 24-hour break, period.
right.
Because the next day he was going to go down there and drop the charges against her. So,
But in some states, you don't need to press charges. Some states, the state will press charges. That's what's happening with the Soroka case.
yeah, but in the state they're at, it's not like that. Where they got pulled over at, it wasn't like that there.
That's how I feel, Steve. But I think it's also natural. It's like human instinct to want to blame in a situation that could have been stopped, you know?
Yeah, I think they did what they could with the information they had. I don't think when they got pulled over, they did anything wrong.
See, I told you we don't usually agree.
Now, I think the cops in Florida were horrendous in what they did after the fact.
Yeah, not keeping an eye on him.
Right, letting him even get away. And now I think they made a huge mistake. But watching the cam footage, I mean, I feel like they did what they could with the information they had at the time.
Right.
You can't go on what you think. You can only go on facts when you're a cop and what you see in front of you.
Again, not a job that I would want.
Yeah, exactly.
We know
'Cause
I'm
you have
not
to have proof.
that good
You
at
can't-
judge a character.
Yeah. Well, and you have to have proof. You can't just take someone to jail because you know or feel, that they're a horrible person,
Right.
no matter how badly you want to. But yeah, I think the Florida cops messed up hardcore.
Yeah.
Whether that's because his brother's on the force or not, I don't know. But they did not do their job properly.
Is he on the force? I thought they just said that he had a criminal degree.
I don't remember,
Criminal
honestly.
justice degree or something.
Yeah, it might just be a degree. I'm pretty sure they said he knew a lot of the cops, though. When I was younger, I would have been pissed off having to spend the night. Yeah, exactly, Steve. Exactly. I'm in my 40s, and I wouldn't care now, but yeah, when you're younger, you do.
Right. You do.
Even she didn't want to. She was crying, saying she didn't even want to drive the van alone.
Well, a lot of times when there's abuse, they become, the abused becomes codependent on the abuser.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Totally.
so it makes sense that she wouldn't have wanted to be separated, and makes sense that she was, taking the blame. And
Exactly.
you
Exactly.
think
I don't know, because it wasn't him that was in trouble. It was her. But who knows?
there was there was a waitress from a restaurant that reported that they were fighting there, and that was just, I think, days before they
See, I thought it
assumed.
was the same day
Oh, it may have been. It was.
that they got pulled over. I mean, by the police. When we saw
Oh,
the cam footage, that was that day.
was it?
Yeah. That's why they were following him and pulled him over, and then he swerved, so he pulled him over.
No, they
when he-
weren't at the restaurant. They were at a Whole Foods place.
Oh, was it? Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
The
Oh,
restaurant-
I know which one you're talking about. You're talking about the chick that came out later on.
Yes.
And saw, it was on the 27th. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I know which one you're talking about now. I thought you meant before they got pulled over.
Oh no. 'Cause
Yeah,
they were and then the connection with the couple that got shot there as well.
Mm-hmm.
And the girl worked at the store that Brian and Gabby had just left when they got pulled over. There's been so many twists and turns in this case.
Which unfortunately feeds the conspiracists.
Right.
So there's that too, which isn't great.
Right.
It's just insane. What was I gonna say? Oh, a lot of people were calling the first chick that came out saying that she had picked him up as a hitchhiker. A lot of people were saying, "Oh, she's a liar, she's a liar." And then when it comes out she's not a liar, they're like, "Oh." It's like that's why people don't come forward, because the internet berates and bashes them to death so that they don't want to bother.
See, that's how I feel, Steve. The FBI said there was no connection, but it just seems unreal for that big of a coincidence.
And then there was that guy they found not far from her at all that went missing at the exact same time, found committed suicide.
Yeah, there's been a lot. They were talking about that on the news, that there's been a lot that they, like bodies and stuff, that they have found in the midst of searching for Gabby and Brian.
Yeah. But after they found Gabby, they found a guy that had went missing at the exact same time she did, the exact same dates that she went missing, not very far away at all, that had committed suicide. Remember when I sent you that? Yeah. That's crazy too. It's like they probably died on the same day.
I know. That's what I'm saying. There's like so many coincidences and stuff in this. It's just like a big spider web. 7 bodies. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
And it's also sad.
There's probably connections like that, and a lot of them they just don't aren't as public as this, so we don't see them.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, this case just like blew up on social media.
It sure did.
Well, I think that's going to be it for us for tonight, but we will definitely be watching tomorrow, because I want to know when they come out with the DNA evidence from Gabby's body.
Yeah. And also we're going to do a lighter video tomorrow as like a palate cleanse to get some laughs in there as well. So
right.
Not about the case, about other stuff.
Right.
Just, you know,
this is pretty heavy.
It's pretty heavy. So we'll be doing some type of reaction to something tomorrow. Either a show, a YouTuber, you know, something. So we're glad you were here, Steve. Thanks for your questions. You can subscribe and hit the notification bell so you'll know when we go live again if you want.
Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. We think you rock too.
Yeah, we really appreciate that.
Yeah. So feel free to subscribe and hit our little bell. And
hopefully we'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah. Not sure what time yet, but we'll put a community post or something up.
We don't have community posts yet.
Oh, my bad. Okay, well, we'll just go live. So you'll have to hit the little bell then. Sorry about that.
Thank you so much, Steve. We will hopefully see you back again.
Yes, thank you so much.
Good night.
Have a great night. Bye.